Really, even when I started my undergrad, I was undecided. I didn't know what I would do with the rest of my life. So I was actually chosen to be the commencement speaker at my high school graduation, and that was a sign to me that maybe language was something that I was good at, and that writing was something I was good at. And eventually, it just evolved into this love for words, and yet from that sort of science and math background, this idea of looking at language scientifically really, really appealed to me, because it was something where I could take my love of systems and of structure and that kind of thing, but then apply it to language and to human interaction, which is something that I just absolutely, it's like a perfect pairing of all the things that I love.
Such a good boy. Yeah.
Throughout K through 12 education, language is about correctness. It's about learning the rules. It's about making sure that you write correctly. It's learning where all the commas go. Actually, if you ask people what grammar is, they think that it involves commas, right? But actually, from a linguistic perspective, grammar is not about commas at all. It's about structure. It's about the way that words combine to create phrases, which combine to create sentences, which combine to create discourse. It's about looking at how the language is put together from a systematic point of view, and then asking, what does that mean, right? If one person says it this way, and if one person says it this way, it's not that this person did it right and this person did it wrong, but it's that there's two different ways of doing this, and what does that tell us about who these people are and what their experiences have been, and how we can use language differently to create different means of expression and different types of discourse. Right out of my undergraduate years, I got a job as a teacher in a district in Michigan where most of my students were speakers of a dialect that I now study called African American English. And that year was tough. I learned pretty quickly that I'm not a very good high school teacher. But I also learned at the same time that this love of language that had been growing in me, and of course I was teaching English at the time, was something that I could dig a little bit deeper into. And so that experience with my students, seeing that sort of linguistic mismatch between the way I spoke and the way they spoke, led me to this interest in language variation. And so now I study language variation, and I look at these different dialects, and I look at how it is that in schools and in other situations in society, how we can better communicate with one another, how we can be more effective communicators, how we can be more empathetic toward the diversity that we see in language, and how we can accept that diversity for what it is and for the strength that it brings to our interactions with one another, especially in 2019, when we have a lot of issues coming to the fore about race and class and gender and all these kinds of things, language ties into that always. So we get to have these really, really important and interesting conversations about how language ties into those other systems of inequality, really.
So like if someone says, hey, will you read my paper for me? I just want you to check it for grammar. What are they actually asking you to do? Yeah, they want to spell.
I can say that the English department, English and Technical Communication department at S&T is one of the most welcoming academic units that I think I've ever been a part of. It's been a really great part of feeling at home here in Rolla and feeling at home on campus. And I think that there's this sense of, especially among folks in the College of Arts, Sciences, and Business, and us in the humanities and social sciences, this sense of camaraderie and purpose around not only our own work and what we do and what we research, but in how we can make our work and what we do relevant to the students majoring in engineering and the sciences, to help them to understand that what we have to offer is important to them and can really complement what it is that they're doing here at S&T as well. I'm Dr. Sarah Hercula, and if you'd like to reach me, you can do so via email, and my email is herculas@mst.edu.